Hello, welcome to our weekly broadcast. Our first story for today, we take you off to our reporter Keyshawn, who is live with information on Otto the First.
Back in 1936 to... Oh, shit.
I've never heard you say that.
Back in 936 to 973, Otto I had defeated many lords to make himself more powerful from his original power from Saxony. We have some knowledge of Otto I from the deeds of Otto, written by a nun, Heresia of Germania. She noticed the rise of Charlemagne's and Anton's as she read it in God's will. Whenever Otto I went to war, he always won because it was part of God's plan. Otto I had everything: God's money, God's favor, and the financial support from the church leaders, and had a big army. Before he got religious concession and got a lot of stash, the bishops and archbishops had to perform homage from the binds that helped the church. It was called lay inventure. When created, which created a big problem for the church and the monarchy in the 11th century. Heresia did praise him because she knew that he would bring good things to the church, but instead he tried to bring policies to it.
I had a lot of problems with the matriarchs containing what type of policies to bring to the churches. Since the problems never went away, we had a war at the Battle of Lenfield. Ever since I won the battle, Europe has been so amazed. They even think of me as a hero now. And now I went to get crowned by the Pope of Aachen.
Sir, why do you want to become king?
I want to become king because I want to keep the tradition of Charlemagne and to demonstrate papal support for my ruling.
There you have it. Otto I has to become king and bring new policies to the church. Thank you.
Thank you, Keyshawn. We now head off to Lorena, who has a report on Frederick I of Barbarossa.
A civil war rocked Germany the first half of the 12th century. The monarchy was doing a terrible job electing the new leader. After the death of Conrad III, the monarchy decided later that the only other alternative as a strong ruler would be Frederick Barbarossa. Frederick has required vassals to take an oath of allegiance to him as an emperor. He has also appointed officials to conduct imperial authority over communities. With me now is Barbarossa answering some questions for us from this video. As vassals, are they required to take an oath?
Yes, my vassals are required to take an oath of allegiance. They are established to swear peace, association, in communities to punish criminals that break law with the peace of the community.
Barbarossa, I have an understanding that you have surrounded men trained in the Roman law.
Well, yes, I made it to expeditions into Italy. I have also justified assertions of imperial rights over wealthy northern Italy.
Thank you. As Barbarossa's influence in Italy have changed them, Italian cities form groups to oppose him. They are also trying to ally with papacy. If Barbarossa keeps trying to keep
cut. Thank you, Lorena. We now go off to our reporter, Samuel, who is live in Sicily with the recent elected governor, Roger the Hotville. We have heard great news about Sicily's strong government. Thanks to a bold Norman knight, Roger the Hotville, and a small band of missionaries, they had defeated the Muslims and Byzantines in the Kingdom of Sicily. Now this Norman knight is governing Sicily's heterogeneous population of native Sicilians, Italians, Greeks, Jews, Arabs, and Normans. I have with me Governor Roger de Hauteville giving his insight on Sicily's new changes in government.
At first, it was hard to govern a multicultural population, but then I reorganized the lands I had power to.
Please explain.
I first distributed scattered fleets to many of my followers so none of the vassals would have a centralized power base. I also took an inquest of royal property and rights and forbade private warfare. I also kept a financial agency from the previous Muslim rulers, the Diwan.
What is the Diwan?
The Diwan is a sophisticated bureau for record keeping and administration. Keeps official documents in Greek, Latin, and Arabic. It suppresses the royal estates in Sicily, collects revenues, and manages the state monopoly, and it also registers all income to the treasury.
Well, thank you for that insight of Sicily's new government, and there you have it. Back to you in the studio. Thank you, Samuel. We now go into our next reporter, Sergo, who has information on Frederick II Barbarossa, who has taken the place of Roger de Hauteville in his government of Sicily.
2, 1.
Roger II's grandson, Frederick II, who was also the grandson of Barbarossa of Germany, may help Sicily thrive, as he was recently crowned King of the Germans at Aachen and later Holy Roman Emperor at Rome. We're here with Frederick II to learn his strategies for these two positions. King Frederick, what will you do on Roger's ban for private warfare, and do you plan to replace it or keep it?
In order to prevent these conflicts within the government, I must keep the ban into effect.
Do you have any other changes?
My main focus is on Sicily. I plan on replacing town officials with royal governors and subordinate feudal ecclesiastical courts into the king's courts.
And what do you plan to achieve by doing so?
I would love to direct all power to the king, and that is necessary in order to build a greater centralized bureaucracy.
With these policies in full effect, Sicily should thrive under Frederick's rule. Sicily will gain more power and they should have an economic boost. Hopefully after Frederick's rule we can have a good leader.
3, 2, 1.
Thank you, Sergo. We now head on to our reporter Esmeralda, who has information on Frederick II Barbossa's plans and other schemes on how to run Sicily.